What is good, everyone? Back for another video. Time to get stuck into this Laurel. Yeah, since the last video actually I did go drifting again. It was wet, I didn't really get much footage, and I blew my turbo halfway through the day. So been doing a bit of work on the Silvio, got a Pulsar GTX 28 on there now, just sort of closest factory replacement I could get. So that's all running sweet and looking hot again, but that's all done. So time to focus on this old girl. I was waiting on a few things. You might be familiar with old Hops Chop Shop and his RB20 Skyline. He's a mate of mine. He was borrowing my engine stand, and he's got an engine crane, I don't, so I needed that, and he was getting some work done, putting his new motor in, so he's on with that now. So we got the equipment, and yeah, today's the day. Time to start K-swapping. Yeah, so she's in there, just sitting in there like it was in the last video. So we're going to pull it out and get ready to fab it up. But first things first, we need to install this K20 oil pump. I haven't actually pulled it apart yet, but the K24 oil pumps have got these big balance shafts. You can't really rev them. But the main issue is those balance shafts are going to be right where my subframe needs to be, so we've got to fuck that pump off, put this one on. It's a little bit involved with it, but I won't go into too much detail because that's all already on YouTube. So we'll get that on. Another reason is this pickup's going to be in a better spot, but we still probably need to move that pickup. We'll get to that, cross that bridge when we get to it. Also going to chuck the gearbox on. That is a Toyota R151 with a night parts bell housing. So yeah, bolt that up, get that oil pump on, and then we can chuck her in the hole again and sort of start seeing how far off we are, and if I need to change the pickup or yeah, get into making some mounts and designing a sump. So yeah, should be good. Let's get into it. Okay, got it out the hole. Motor's on the stand. Like I said before, I'm not going to film all of this process because there's plenty of people who've done it before. If you're interested in how to do this K20 pump install, Jimmy Oak's video is really good for that. There are some parts I need to buy before I do this for the final time kind of thing. I need to get timing chain and things like that, but I do just want to start mocking things up, so I'm going to get that pump on there. You do have to cut some of this out, but we'll get to that. But yeah, just gonna rip into it. Got that sump off now. There she is. But yeah, as you can see, this is the factory pump. Looking very brown. And that's the K20 pump. Actually, I did say before that the pickup's different. It looks to be in the same place, but this one's modifiable. Oh god, the struggle begins. Seem to have come across a crank bolt from hell. I've been bloody well jumping on it and she's not moving. So gonna bring in the reinforcements. Let's go, baby! Oh, fuck yes. So, got the K20 pump on. That was kind of scary grinding that, but see, it's really close. But yeah, got that sorted. So the other sort of obvious challenge with putting one of these motors in a rear-wheel drive application, other than well, I suppose some cars, the sump might work out fine, but anyway, the other thing is this coolant neck here is just going to be poking directly out into my firewall. So I'm going to fuck this off and maybe some other stuff around here. And then I'm going to have to figure out how to mate it up to the gearbox without damaging that pump. But yeah, just rip this off and then figure that out. So I'm kind of done here for now. I got to put all this back together another time because I want to get a new timing chain, VCT cam gear, a few other little things. But this is where I need to be at to sort of start test fitting stuff. I've fucked off that coolant housing and stuff like that. I want to sort of delete as much factory crap as I can and just really simplify it all. But yeah, I don't know how any of it works yet, so have to figure that out. But I've got my my K20 pump on there, so now I'm just going to figure out how to put it on a tire or something without damaging that, and then get my box bolted up, and then we can start fucking ramming her in. Let's go. Righto, we've got our motor in there. Sort of did what I expected was going to happen, but it's good to sort of know what I'm dealing with. I could put this in like this, chop that sump up pretty easily and mount it here, and it would work fine. It's below my bonnet. The shifter's fucking years away from the hole, but you can work around that. And yeah, fucking right into it. But that's a bit shit, eh? Like, fuck that. I'm not really trying to have this big gap here. And yeah, so that pickup's gonna have to become shorter. That's really close to my cross member. So I might be able to shorten that. I'll see how much I can. Otherwise, you're gonna have to make a full custom pickup, which will suck, but it's all part of it, I guess, huh? Yeah, I'm just gonna have a bit more of a look around this and sort of figure it all out. But yeah, pretty sick to have it in there. Righto, so I have taken my pickup off so I can get the motor in the position that I actually wanted. I think I'll still bring it back a little bit further. Want to get it as close as I can to that firewall, but more or less is where it's going to sit. And it's working out pretty well. Got heaps of bonnet clearance. My shifter is miles away, but that's fine. I can get a remote shifter, or I can dog leg this one, so that's not really an issue. As you can see, the motor's pretty much sitting on my subframe, so it's going to be a real shallow sump at the rear there. But yeah, kind of hard to see in there, but that's the room I have for a pickup, so it's not the end of the world. So yeah, just gotta figure out how I'm gonna do it really. Decided to go with the Land Rover mounts because they're cheap and durable. I need to pick them up at the mount shop. But yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with how it's gonna sit in there. Definitely gonna be challenging making a sump and stuff, but it's all good learning, and it's gonna sit where I want it to. Could leave it further forward, but that's not really where I'm at with this. Made this little device to go in between the chassis rails and keep the crank centered, and sort of where I want it, and then I've used these strops to get the motor where I want, and I've got that sitting perfectly straight up and down, and we've got clearance, so that's mean. And I've got a PVC pipe going into where my yoke is, so that sort of shows me where my gearbox is pointed. So I'm happy with that. So it's time to make some engine mounts, and I'm just going to make some temporary mounts for now because I would like to design some on the computer and get them machined, but I want to hold the motor in the place it is right now. So what I'm going to start with is this. I think might be like an AC bracket or something. Goes down there. So I'm just going to use that to weld off because I got some thick LE plate here. So temporary, but it'll do the trick for now. Just been cleaning that up. don't know what I'm going to do in regard to water pump and all that, but engine mounts first, or pick up, then make a sump, I guess. So that's kind of cleaned up now, and I've cut out this guy here, so it's working out pretty well. Now mocking up some braces for that. Cut these little numbers out. It's out of some 10mm plate, I think. Chuck those guys on there. So I'll tack that up in the car and then take it off, chuck it on the bench and give it a full weld. Pretty happy with that though. So that's all tacked in there now. Bit ugly, but do the trick for now. I'll just leave that and head on over to the other side. And I think I'm going to use these 3 holes. Don't know what they're originally for, but they're threaded and they're in a good place. So make a little plate to go on there, and then make a plate for this and figure out some way to join them. So I'll cut up that stuff and get it tacked. I've actually got this spare block, which I actually got for free off a nice gentleman who had plenty of Hondas. So that's a great thing about these motors, is it's like, this is probably not that uncommon to get a free block, or very cheap at least. But yeah, this makes it a little easier, so I can just mock up stuff on this. So I've made this little plate, go bolt that up to the motor and make those other bits, and should be all good. I wish cardboard was strong enough, but might need something with a bit more integrity. But mocked up, ready to go. Wait for those to cool down and rip them out, weld them up, and hopefully all is done. Let's go, baby! Fucking A. Pretty much almost burnt out my welder. I had the earth clamp glowing there for a bit. I think I'm well above the duty cycle of a air-cooled torch, but it worked. So fuck yeah, stoked on that. Now these would be too hot to touch for the next 16 years probably, so might go fuck around with something else, but chucking back in a sec. Mounts are all bolted in. I think I could weld the inside of this just for aesthetics, but I don't think it's going to break or anything. Don't even know if I'll end up using these, but got them in there for now. Pretty stoked. So now I'll just go ahead and take out this guy and my strops, and she should be sitting there by herself. mounted engine. Bloody good. Still gotta do my gearbox mount, so I'll jump onto that now, but fuck yeah, I'm stoked with that. Straight up and down. And hopefully with the way these mounts are, I should have quite a bit of play up and down, getting my gearbox in the right spot. But I think it's pretty much where I need it now anyway. And then can move on to making a new oil pickup. I'm thinking I'll turn this one around so that it's kind of like there or something. See how we go. So moving on to a gearbox mount now that the engine is where I want it. This is actually a factory B stamp cross member, and that's pretty much going to work perfectly. This is the R151 mount, so basically I think what I'm going to do is just cut these guys off and sort of make, because that sort of sits like right in where that would be, but cut these guys off and make a plate to go across here and just join these to that plate. Don't know if I'll stay like that, but it'll work for now. But the problem I'm running into now is not only is my shifter far too far forward, this is too tall, so this is going to be poking into my tunnel and I don't want to cut the tunnel. You can get JZX 110 remote shift, which brings the shifter location back. So I'll probably get one of them, but I think I'm going to try and either cut this down and shorten it and shorten the shifter a little bit, or maybe relocate this back to about here and make my own shift relocation kit. Dunno. Gonna give this clean up first anyway. Got that looking as close to brand fucking hell. Got that looking as close to brand new as possible. So now to figure out where to chop it and how to make a linkage. Got this guy cut off. So I hate using these fucking things. Really sketchy, but it means you can weld it. So if we can move this back to like here, weld in some plates to hold that in place, and then take my shifter, which is now covered in shit, and take that little mechanism off the end, weld that to the end of this stainless bar, have this in here, and then cut that to the right length, make a hinge joint on the bottom of the shifter, and I mean it should work, and I will be a certified wizard if this shed creation is bountiful. But yeah, let's get going. Well, it's coming along. So this guy is going to go in there, and it's kind of bottoming out on the bottom there. But I'll chop this off and stick it to that stainless pole, and then sort of see how much room we've got. Well, I think that was enough for one weekend. I gave up on that for Sunday night. Slept on it, and I think I've come up with a better way of doing this remote shifter. Like I might have said before, I could get the JZX 110 one, but that would still require modification. And, you know, try to save money where you can. So, gonna pull the motor and box out, make it easier to work on, and then sort of actually have a good look at how the linkage works in the gearbox side, and see if we can come up with a better way of doing that, because I know where the shifter needs to sit now, so I can work on it outside of the car. So we'll get the motor and box out and get into it. Top's pulled out of that. Shifter is repaired. Now the scary part. Right, so successfully extended the linkage there. Yeah, looking pretty promising. So I guess now I'm going to sit my shifter on here and weld up the shifter housing around that, where that sits, right? And I guess once that's all tacked in place, there's really only one thing left to do, and that's see if she works. Righto, kind of forgot to film a bit because I got so excited there, but I made a new frame for it. So I just basically sat the shifter like dongle thing in there with this on top of it, and then mocked up these side bits out of cardboard and tacked it in while it was there. But basically what I've done, just to recap, is cut this off here and just extend it to where I need it to be. And then this guy goes like that. But yeah, go ahead and chuck some bolts in there. And then, so could now like put it in the car. What have I done with my shifter? Ah, fuck. Here, okay. And then this guy, which way do we want that? I've given this little bend so that it goes right in the car. This just drops down into there. Like so. Whack this guy on. Little circlip guy. Okay, so that's in there. And then we have shifting. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, and reverse. Fucking A. Obviously I could have done like a slightly better job of this, but I didn't even think it was going to work. So I kind of just whipped it up to see how it would go, but I'm really stoked with that actually. The only reason I made this is because I was too impatient and cheap to wait for a JZX110 remote shifter to show up. But this actually worked out better because I think the remote shifter probably would have put me about here, but this is exactly where I want it. Kind of can't believe this has worked, but I guess the principle's simple enough. But yeah, fucking stoked with that. Probably gonna leave it there for this video. Come back next time, do some gearbox mounts, start figuring out what else we can get into. But yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for keeping up with the build, and yeah, get back into it next time.